Good afternoon. My name is Brenda Paris. I'm a board member of the Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation, and I'll be chairing today our Toronto Seniors Housing Corporate Governance and Human Resources Committee in lieu of Councillor Crisanti's absence. I'd like to welcome our board, committee members, staff, and any online attendees to our meeting of Wednesday, September 17th. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and we have no deputations today. I'd like to acknowledge that September is World Alzheimer's Month and Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Next week, Rosh Hashanah will begin on September the 22nd. We have a light agenda today, showcasing our people and culture dashboard. Then we will go in camera. We have no closed decision items at this time. With that, I'll go to the next agenda item, our land and African ancestral acknowledgements. Toronto Seniors Housing acknowledges that we are in the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Toronto is home to a vast diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis who enrich this city. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Treaty between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations, the Two-Row Wampum Treaty between the Haudenosaunee and the Dutch, as well as Treaty 13 and the Williams Treaties involving the Anishinaabe and the Crown. Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation is committed to reconciliation. We honor the land through our communities and programs that reflect and respect its heritage. Our land acknowledgement marks a small but key step in the process of reconciliation and building a positive relationship with Indigenous and First Nations people. Following that, our African ancestral acknowledgement. Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation acknowledges the racism and injustices faced by individuals who were brought to this land involuntarily, primarily those affected by the transatlantic slave trade. We acknowledge the experiences of Black peoples who arrived in Canada seeking a better life following the abolition of slavery by the British in 1834, while also recognizing the structural, systemic, and individual racism that they encountered, which continues to persist today. This racism culminated in the tragic destruction of Africville, which was once the largest settlement of the Black community in Canada. Toronto Seniors Housing is committed to recognizing all forms of racism, especially anti-Black racism, and is actively working to combat these injustices. We pay tribute to those ancestors of African origin and descent. I will now proceed to item 3, approval of the public meeting agenda. Are there any amendments or new business to be added to the agenda? Hearing none, may I have a committee member move that the September 17th, 2025 CGHRC public meeting agenda be approved as presented?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. That's Warren Law, and seconder?
Lawrence.
Lawrence D'Souza?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
All in favor? With all in favor, be it resolved that the September 17th, 2025 Corporate Governance and Human Resources Committee public meeting agenda is approved as presented. We'll now proceed to item 4, the conflict of interest policy. Item 4, does anyone have a conflict of interest to any agenda item? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, approval of the CGHRC public session minutes. Are there any amendments to the CGHRC public session minutes of June 18th, 2025? Any amendments? Hearing none, may I have a committee member move that the minutes of June 18th, 2025, public session minutes be approved as presented?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Warren, thank you. Seconded by?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Thank you, Lawrence. All in favor? All in favor, be it resolved that the CGHRC's June 18th, 2025 public session minutes are approved as presented. We'll now proceed to item 6, the approval of the committee closed session minutes. Are there any amendments to the CGHRC closed session minutes of June 18, 2025? Hearing none, may I have a committee member move that the CGHRC's June 18th, 2025 closed session minutes be approved as presented? So, mover?
Lawrence.
Lawrence, thank you. Seconder?
Seconded by Warren.
Seconded by Warren, thank you. With all in favor, please be it resolved that the CGHRC's June 18th, 2025 closed session minutes are approved as presented. Thank you. We'll now proceed to item 7, action items review. I will pass it over to Grant to speak on the action item in progress.
Thank you. Through the chair and to the committee, and if I could ask Karen to put up the action list so we can just quickly reference that for the committee.
How are we doing?
Karen, are you able to put up the action list? If not, it's in the package and I'll just speak to it. But there was one action on the list. It
Yes.
refers
It's
back.
coming up right now.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. So through the chair and to the committee, you can see there is an action item from October 7th of 2024 to bring in a semi-annual report to the board committee on incidences and trends on tenant management process, on the tenant management process and efficacy on tenant human rights, the tenant human rights policy. This particular action relates to when we brought forward to the Corporate Governance and Human Resources Committee the policy last October, so just about a year ago. And so our intent is to bring a report to the next Corporate Governance and Human Resources Committee on November the 6th on this item. I can update that we have developed a framework for how to bring forward this reporting, and we'll be presenting that on November 6th in response to this particular item. So it is in progress.
Okay. Thank you. Any other items on that action item?
Everything else on the list is completed.
Has been completed, as I recall.
Yes.
Yes, right. Okay, thank you very much. And that date, so Fareed, go ahead.
Yeah, there are a couple of items in the June 18th minutes that I don't know, Grant or Tom, if these should be captured in the to-do list. But we did talk a bit about the employee engagement survey and the training and development piece, kind of, lagging in terms of where they are on the year-over-year progress. And there was a reference in the minutes to that sort of coming back. These are my words, not coming back to the committee, but someone sort of tracking that and giving the committee an update at the appropriate time. And then there was a second one regarding the governance work plan. We spoke a bit about the usefulness of the surveys that are done immediately after the meeting. And I thought there was a bit of a conversation about bringing that to committee at some point in time to have a conversation about, its utility. And that was item number 12. The initial one was item number 8 on the June 18th minutes.
Okay.
So through the chair and to the committee, thank you for those comments. With regards to the training, I think I will ask Carol if she can address that. I know that their item coming up
Yes.
in this agenda does include the dashboard from the human resources dashboard, and there are aspects of training. So this may be sufficient, or we can discuss it in that item if that's okay. And with regards to the follow-up on the surveys and some of the results around how committee meetings are being run, we do intend to have a governance workshop with the board later this year, once the board is reconfirmed or confirmed in October, where we would definitely resurface and bring these items back into view to allow the board to give us more insight and talk about other things associated with the operation of our board and committee processes, etc. And that would reference back to that governance work plan that you mentioned. So we definitely have plans to bring forward and follow up on that as well.
Fareed, does that address some? I mean, I did see those two items that you mentioned actually. The report
Yeah,
on
I mean,
the
yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll wait until I guess we hear from Carl on the dashboard, and
well, yes, 'cause
hopefully, so
there were some training items
yeah,
on the dashboard. Yes.
yeah,
I
I'm
know.
fine. We can move
Okay.
on.
And the other thing in terms of the survey of the board members on committee participation, I thought we had agreed we would continue that until such time as we had the further discussion and update. Am I wrong on that? Correct me if I'm wrong.
So
Are we still sending out those surveys?
through the chair and to the committee, we have paused sending out those surveys.
Okay.
However, our intent is to revisit this as part of that workshop with the board that we're going to have. And as well, we are looking at bringing on a board portal, a new way to manage board materials, which will give us additional capabilities for things like surveys,
Right.
in kind of beyond what we've had to date.
And
So we have paused that.
where are we with the board portal?
So a board portal, a solution has been selected, and we're just initiating the process to work with the vendor to onboard TSHC into that process and plan out essentially next steps to develop the portal and then implement it. The plan is to do that before the end of the year.
And the board portal would not be using our existing communication structures? Is it some other software that we'd be introducing, or?
Through the chair and to the committee, yes, it is another. It's basically an online subscription where you would have another login to the board portal software that would be customized for TSHC's requirements, and we would provide the board with information about how that would all work. It's a central repository in place for board materials, for example, communications and related activities.
And how will that intersect with any documents or work that's been done currently by our staff? Are we going to have two parallel systems, or I just assumed that was software that was readily available within our existing capabilities?
Through the chair and to the committee, it is a new piece of software, and we'll have to look at how we can integrate in historic or archival information into that.
Yes.
And we haven't yet explored that, but that is one of the things we'll be working on to understand what's possible and how far back we might go. But it will be a separate piece of software. Yes.
So
Yes. Go ahead.
you're
Warren?
looking at Diligent or one of Diligent's competitors?
The software is called Aprio, and that's the software. And we work together with Toronto Community Housing. They'll be using the same board portal solution, just for reference.
And I'd like to ensure that historic documents are included in that, because that had been my understanding. I don't know if I'm incorrect on that or not, but will there
There's
be?
definitely, through the chair, there's definitely capability to incorporate documents into libraries within the solution. And we can look at how we'll incorporate the historic information, because right now the repositories are not easily accessible to board members, as we know.
Right. And that will include things like minutes of meetings and committee meetings?
Yes, through the chair
Okay.
and it would include minutes, agendas, etc. So basically everything that is distributed to board members
Right.
in the course of doing their work.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Next item. Item 8, CEO update. Tom
Yes.
Hunter, our CEO, you'll be giving a verbal report.
Yes, thank you through the chair to the committee. Just first of all, around our staff event that was held yesterday, and there was just a quick or a bit of a discussion about this before the meeting started. But with our event, we had a bit of a carnival theme, and as you heard, the weather was beautiful. There was all kinds of kind of activities for the staff, and we even we had a booth where we were kind of introducing our intranet to the staff, so that was helpful for them to see kind of a new form or helpful form of communication for them. And but we just took a bit of time to share information about our upcoming kind of United Way, and with the big group there highlighting the long service awards. We actually had 2 staff with 45 years of service, so
Yes.
it started from TSHC to us, and we will have our long service awards in November. But this was just to thank these individuals with so many of their peers present. So that was really nice, and it was a very successful afternoon. There was a food truck there providing different types of kind of burger, sausage, and fries and corn. Festivities and food, all is positive. And just want to thank Brenda and Jim for attending. It was good to see both of them there as well. And another update, second update, was just around the governance workshop, but Grant had referenced that and spoken to that. So just a reminder that we will be looking for dates for that, and just keeping the board members informed about the new board composition. Once again, it will be October 10th, and we'll just continue to provide these updates, or as required, the full update once the council decision has been shared. And there's another item with just around a bargaining update, a quick note around the bargaining with Local 79 to inform the committee that it is underway. And then just finally, I think maybe even next on the agenda, just around the people and culture update. Carol will be walking through the Q2 People and Culture dashboard shortly, and I just did want to mention that with the idea, strategy, and the work that has been done there, a more kind of separate and comprehensive update will be at the November meeting relating to people and culture. So just didn't want the committee to think that was not being that we're not working on it. It's just it's going to be a more focused presentation at the next committee. So with that, thank you. And any questions?
The governance workshop that we've been talking about, we haven't got dates yet. You're still working on that. What's going to be the range of items discussed in that meeting?
So I can take that if you'd like, Tom. So through the chair and to the committee, we have not set the formal agenda for that workshop yet. So
Right.
that is something that we still have to put together, and Karen and myself will be working on that shortly. However,
Okay.
generally, we will be working off the governance work plan. So the item that was referenced, that was brought forward on the June 18th at the previous CGHR meeting as a reference point. And the governance work plan essentially covers off a series of different overall strategic governance aspects, and then also some more specific board and committee aspects or processes. So it'll be a blend of those things in the context of opportunities for the board to streamline and improve processes, to ensure that its accountabilities that are being addressed appropriately, strategically as well. And we're going to weave that into a conversation that will allow for input and feedback to ultimately, hopefully, inform an update to that governance work plan and opportunities where we're going to continue to work going forward. So it's really an update to the work plan as well.
And that will include the full board or just the committee?
We'll include the full board.
The full board. Okay, so they'll need obviously materials in advance. And were there any items from our summer workshop that we had? We had different discussions about innovation and stuff like that. Will any of that be referred to that that workshop in November, or was there a natural carryover there, or is it a standalone item to be addressed elsewhere?
So from the July 10th workshop, through
Yeah.
the chair and to the committee that you're referencing,
Yes.
we will look for where there is overlap between the discussion that happened on July 10th and the governance work plan, and potentially carry on to ensure we have a follow-up on that. There may be a couple of items where there's some overlap, in particular around things like strategic directions.
Yes.
However, the focus will be on the governance work plan as a whole. And we still have to send out a summary from the July 10th session to the board as well. That was
Okay.
requested previously.
Okay, so maybe if that could happen reasonably soon, so we can then determine what does need follow-up. Did we commit to semi-annual workshops? We had the one in July, but did we make a commitment to another one within 6 months, or what was our intended follow-up on that meeting?
So through the chair and to the committee, I don't recall that we made a formal commitment to a timeline for future workshops, but that would definitely be a conversation that I think would make sense to have.
Okay.
Going forward. I can advise, for example, we will have more detailed conversations in upcoming board meetings on our future strategic directions.
Okay.
And how to sort of balance between having dedicated workshops and then bringing certain topics to the formal board meeting channel, for example.
All right, let's not lose sight of that. If we could, not quite through what direction, whether it's board meeting or a specified committee, but let's not lose sight of some of the follow-up questions that did. It was quite animated discussion, as I recall. So I don't want to lose sight of those items.
Through the chair and to the committee, no, appreciate it, and we will work to ensure some continuity from that discussion.
Right. Okay, thank you very much, both Tom and Grant, and now I'll go to item.
Madam Chair, excuse me,
Yes.
Tom Hunter has his
Oh,
hand up.
sorry. Yes, I see. Yeah, thank you.
Through the chair to the committee, sorry, there was just one item that I did want to mention was the federal announcement around Build Canada Homes.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was very recent, so we haven't had kind of a great deal to dissect it. Not that I necessarily think it will have a significant impact or any impact on Toronto Seniors Housing Corporation, but it is a significant announcement by the federal government. Certainly has implications for Toronto community housing. So for our intention would be for the Quality Tenant Engagement Committee, which is coming up in a week's time, that we would have a more that I would just be providing more detail in that update at QTech. Thanks.
Yes, I did notice that, Tom, and I noticed the announcement included a lot of not-for-profit and co-op housing. Did that include public sector community housing organizations in that projected program?
Yes, 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 it does.
Okay.
It does, yes. Municipal, not-for-profit.
Municipal,
community.
that's what I meant. Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
Because, and I wonder, I've always asked and always wondered why Toronto Community Housing is not being more active in building new housing with all the various federal money coming down. So are these items that are being discussed in our negotiations on the agreements and the legal negotiations that we're doing with this issue of future plans for expansion?
Through the chair. So to the committee for the purposes of our kind of transition agreement.
Yes.
As this would relate to the extent that we participate and advise or part of the capital project, there could be more definition within those terms. Yes, but once again, that accountability will still ultimately rest with TSHC. Yeah.
Yes, I just hate to lose an opportunity to possibly look at how it might benefit us as well as the general TSHC portfolio. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we're on to item 9, people and culture dashboard. Carol, you'll be reporting here. This is your bailiwick.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair and to the committee.
Okay.
It is recommended that the Corporate Governance and Human Resource Committee received the TSHC People and Culture Dashboard information for Q2. And so if we begin from a recruiting and staffing standpoint, we've had a period of much stability, minimal turnover. For hiring, we've extended existing contracts, things of that nature. From a headcount and workforce data, the average headcount remains stable for all three of our work groups. Absenteeism, there seems to be higher paid and unpaid hours with majority attributed to illness. But on a safety front, we still have a very small number of incidents which are mainly minor and have not resulted in lost time. From a training and development, there was strong participation in training modules this quarter. We did have some training that we introduced, resume writing, interview skills, based on feedback that we received, also facilitation skills. And so those were rolled out by our learning and OD advisor. From a collective bargaining standpoint, we had our first TSHC collective agreement with QP Local 416, and it was ratified on July 10th by TSHC staff. And now we are in the process of collective bargaining, as Tom had mentioned earlier, with Local 79. So the first meeting was September 10th. And there are a number of meetings in September and October as we look at this first round with Local 79. As you see, I mentioned recruitment. I discussed the average headcount, quite low, very few changes there. Our turnover rate is 1.24, which is still quite low, and our vacancy rate has dropped significantly as well at 2.6%. And then, as I mentioned, the absenteeism rate is seems substantial. We'll monitor it over the next quarter, and then when we update in November, we'll be able to better determine, what the fluctuation is in change for here. From our Joint Health and Safety Committee updates, they had in-person meetings in Q2, still working on policies. We've had no Ministry of Labor visits. So from a health and safety perspective, again, no lost time injuries. So things seem to be working quite well there. From a training perspective, we have, as I mentioned, the resume writing, interview, facilitation skills. We had aging in community training that was piloted. And again, we are continuing with our new hire orientation. And then the training opportunities, you'll see some of the compliance. One area that we have shifted focus on is in our policies. And so workplace violence, fraud prevention, whistleblower protection. We've also had conflict of interest, workplace harassment. These policies have all been uploaded to our Talent Connect, our learner management system. And so they have been rolled out to all staff, and all new hires will also be required to take the training. And then next year, there are some of them that will be reiterated, and then some of them are in line with the approximately 3-year place for the policy itself before revision. And so we are working through getting completion on that. And then, as you can see, as I mentioned, policies training, we've got tenant focus training. So one in particular, the aging in community that we piloted, seniors focus training, the quality in the AODA, cybersecurity training, which I am working on the rollout of the 2025 plan as well. And then we have our general trainings that we've looked at, resume writing, interview skills, etc. So through the chair, I know Fareed, you had raised some concern or question over what you were anticipating. So I'm not sure if you found that in the dashboard or if there's something more I need to provide information on.
I have some questions, but before I do, other committee members, any questions or thoughts or suggestions? I don't see any hands up. If I could, you mentioned a comment about concern about absenteeism rate, and I'm just trying to see where in the chart you're mentioning that. Is it just your analysis of it, or is it somewhere in the chart?
It's in the chart.
Sure.
And why is that? What I'm trying to look at? Yeah, thank you, because as always, I have problems reading. In the screen here.
So we totaled the paid hours and we totaled the unpaid hours.
Yes, I see that.
So they're not totaled in the same way for the Q1. So we will then be able to determine what the difference is. So I
Okay.
will update that at our next meeting in November.
And what does unpaid hours mean?
So they may have taken the days off unpaid or the
I see.
absences. So you have some are paid leaves, like
Right.
bereavement, but depending on the number of days they take, you see that there's failure to report to work, so that would be unpaid. And so there are some here, ill not authorized. You'll see those times. So those are the that would total the between the total unpaid and total paid hours.
Okay.
Hmm.
And you're saying this is of concern. So is there a follow-up expected, or what is this? Was this internal processes that you have that you monitor unpaid hours or absent without notice? I mean,
So through the chair, if there's absenteeism issues, our people and culture business partners would work with our people leaders to try to resolve those issues and opportunities. What I'm indicating is that by Q3, I'll be able to have a better
breakdown.
understanding of what our baseline is.
Okay.
And so I can then determine if it's concerning or if it's just
Right.
the average that we have.
Okay. That was what I was trying to capture. Thank you. Okay. And my other comments are about training. Now, I see we have a number of training that, in a sense, are organizational mandates and policy mandates. My concern about training is skills training for staff, and two areas in particular. One is, I mentioned this supervisory training, training people who are promoted to supervisor or indeed our current supervisors, whether there's any expectation we can have of some actual training for that group. And the second issue is the one on violence. And you have a workplace violence, so that's the policies, but I want the skill level. Are people being trained in nonviolent crisis intervention? Is it a mandatory course? How widespread is the training availability? If you could answer those two areas.
Thank you. So through the chair, one of the things that we one of the trainings that we sourced earlier this year was Leading with Impact. And so that was rolled out to our people leaders. And so what we are doing, actually, we are starting October 1st for the second cohort of the team to be trained through the Leading with Impact course. One for consistency within the organization through the leadership team so we can support. We also have members of the people and culture team who participate because they also support the leaders in their people leadership. And then the second one from a workplace violence. So right now we've rolled out our policy.
Hold on, sorry, before you go on to that one.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Leading
Leadership?
with Impact.
So that's meant to be training on how to supervise? People,
That's a people leadership training, yes.
people leadership, and that's not in your charts here though. So it's not under policy training or tenant focus. So where would I expect to find that?
That one rolled out in, I think, January. So it was probably captured in the prior report.
Prior.
And then they will start in October, so it will be in the Q4 dashboard.
And you'll be doing senior level managers taking that or
Yes, yes.
What,
Yeah,
ab-
we have
what about,
supervisors. Pardon?
I hear background noise, sorry.
Yeah, there's background noise.
Maybe
Okay.
I think it's
Okay, so,
mute Warner, maybe.
all right. So I'm talking about frontline supervisors. Are they getting training in how to supervise and how frequent is
So-
that, is availability of that course?
So this course was rolled out to essentially half of our people leaders. So it includes supervisors, managers, and our senior leaders. So everyone is included in that training. And so now we're rolling out the second cohort. So
Okay.
depending on how many new people leaders we hire, then we would look at rolling out another cohort. But right now, with the next 3 months, we should be able to close that particular training.
Can I suggest that it be
All
done?
our people leaders would have gone through the training.
And is there an expectation that it will be on an ongoing basis, renewed and upgraded? I mean, it doesn't, one and done typically doesn't quite work, but I'm just wondering what your plans are for going forward.
So we will work on, thank you. We will work on what additional training individuals need, but this course, they won't take this particular course again, our people leaders.
Okay,
And so they will execute on the learnings that they've received, and we have a supportive process between people and culture senior leaders. As we progress, then we will determine what additional training is required for our people leaders. So they won't necessarily take this course twice. They've already taken it. Yeah.
and the people leader is the term you use for supervisor.
Yes.
I'm
Can you see my hand?
sorry.
Yes,
The last thing, I'm using the term people leaders as anyone who leads people. So
Okay.
it could be a supervisor, manager,
Manager.
regional operations manager, or a member of the leadership team.
I
Sorry.
understand. Tom, I see your hands up
Oh,
there.
great, thanks. Yeah, through the chair. I think just adding to what Carol was saying, we've actually seen really a positive, I guess, representation of this training across the organization. So we had the original cohort. We now have the second cohort we'll be going through, and there was staff through expression of interest of supervisory positions who are in fact currently non-supervisory, but we're going to be able to they can be asked, or we can ask them to participate in this training.
Yes.
So that even some of the non-union people or people who are
Yes.
not in a supervisory role who have expressed an interest to us will be able to get this training. So I think it builds nicely, and it's a very comprehensive training program that which will expands across the entire lead organization. Thanks.
Will that then be captured in our dashboard
Yeah,
going forward?
Yeah, we
That
will.
will be
Okay.
attached. That will be attached in the dashboard.
Okay. And then the last one was the crisis intervention violence training. I think
Yes,
you've
so
done
that is offered. Thank you. That is offered every 2 years to staff. The non-violent
Violence
crisis intervention
intervention.
training. Yes.
All right. Given that we now have over 350 people from the homelessness cohort, I would suggest that we might want to think of it more frequently than every 2 years, because we need to equip staff to be able to deal with any challenges that might arise. That's my suggestion, but and if that could also be captured in the dashboard, so we can get a sense of the ongoing training opportunities. Those are my only comments. Any other
Thank you.
any other thoughts? Any other comments? Okay. What item was that now? That was item 9. Thank you. Okay, so that's just, that's not for approval or vote. That's just accepted. Accept the
Correct.
report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much then.
Thank you.
So item 10, we move to, moving into a closed session. May I ask a committee member that we move that we transfer into the closed session under the TSHC bylaw 1-2021, section 419, subsection, and as always, I have problems reading this, 1J, I believe, and 1K.
So move, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Warren. Seconder?
Lawrence.
Lawrence, thank you very much. All in favor? So moved. Be it resolved that the CGHRC closed part of the meeting to the public is approved. We'll now proceed to item 11. Approval of the closed session agenda. Any amendments to the
One
closed
moment.